UFO sightings reported around the world every month. 90% of these sightings can be explained, but 10% cannot. Officially and unofficially, the U.S. military has been investigating UFOs since 1947. Their top secret goal is to find out what's behind these unexplained sightings. The Pentagon classifies them as unusual airborne anomalies, but a better term is X-Files. Join us as we explore these unsolved cases, UFO incidents that baffle even the U.S. military. This is Mack Maloney's Military X-Files. And now, here's Mack Maloney.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Mack Maloney's Military X-Files show here on the Distant Thunder Radio Network. This is Mack Maloney. What a show we have for you tonight. But first, let me introduce the members of the Posse, or the Posse, as they say on the streets of Paris. Girls, get ready. It's that time of the evening. Do you have your mister? Do you have your big fan? Do you have your extra big box of Kleenex? Because he's here, the very famous Juan.
Hello, Mac. How are you tonight?
Okay.
Hello, girls.
You get your Rolling Stones hat on.
Thanks for being with us on the show.
You have your Rolling Stones hat on?
I do.
All right. You get your Florida glasses on? Those Florida
glasses.
No, they're not. Okay. All right. Anyway, up there, looking out of his bunker at the rest of us, they know him as Kolek on the street, but we know him as Commander Cobra.
Good evening, gentlemen.
He's saluting us.
As always, glad to be on the wing.
The chicken, when he's saluting us, we're on video tonight, which really doesn't happen too often. You can see the secrets of behind the scenes of the show. Anyway, up there, not showing himself tonight, as it turns out, up there in the Boulder Flakes, Battle Creek, Michigan. Well, I'm sorry, Coco. How's everything in Coco World? Fine with you?
Coco World is in good shape.
Okay, all right.
Open for business.
Still, we don't want to say that, really.
It's funny that you would use those terms, considering the 21 mule train that I am on tomorrow from Mac.
Yeah. Okay.
Little code.
Yeah. Is the mule train one of the rides at Coco World where you have to be, you've got that stick with the mark on it where you have to be tall enough to ride it?
You have to wear a shirt to ride it.
You have to wear a shirt.
Basically, the reason.
They don't care how tall you are.
So the motto is keep your shirt on.
Keep your shirt on. That is correct.
Okay. All right.
Well, inside track humor there, folks.
All right. Yeah, we try.
If you subscribe, you can get the insider's decoder ring to explain all the things that are going on here.
And it's borax, by the way, that white powdery stuff. Look at
20 Mule Team Borax.
Up there, listen, we should behave ourselves because our security chief is checking in on us tonight, okay? We should give him a round of applause, okay, because he's the keeper of the gate. Willy Clubb. Willy, hi.
Willy.
Hey, folks.
You can clap for yourself, too. Okay. So how things are you there, Clubb?
Well, I got to tell you, since coming back from Florida, things are going pretty well here.
Okay, all right, no surprise.
A lot going on, which I'll be covering with you later. But,
okay.
We're keeping things under control for you.
That's good. Willie goes through all of our fan mail, all these different packages and communications that we get from our fans. And, we're going to be doing his security report, his 3-month security report coming up very soon. We should also say that, have I introduced Switch? I can't remember.
No, you have not.
No, you have not. No.
Okay. All right. Now, you're going to be upset that I introduced Barry before you? Is that the letter I'm going to get tomorrow?
No, I'm fine. I'm fine, Meg.
You sure?
I'm fine.
I don't hear it in your voice. Okay.
No, it's not genuine.
Yeah, it's not genuine. But anyway.
No, he'll get over it.
He'll get over it. That's what I say,
Yeah, that's what he thinks. That's what Clubb
see, exactly. Anyway, Switch, what
does Clubb know anyway? Yeah, yes, go ahead.
Okay, all right. Okay, boy, he's turning. I get this thing.
For somebody who wasn't bothered, that seemed to have a little weight.
Hey, look, it's the heat. It's the heat. What can I tell you?
Okay. Okay, up there in Battle Creek, Michigan. The Boulder Flakes, our national correspondent, Switchblade Steve Ward, is with us.
Great to be here.
Oh, wow. See, once again, the
enthusiasm.
And that I'm a celebrity, so
great.
I said it was great to be here, okay?
But that 3-second pause, we're bothering you as opposed to the other way around.
It wasn't 3 seconds, but go ahead.
Okay, now, if she's still there, I hope, our very good friend out there in Las Vegas, gracing up the show, is Ella the Psychic. Ella, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing fabulous.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
We clap for Ella?
Yeah, let's clap for Ella.
Let's clap for Ella.
Thank you.
We can whistle. Yeah. Okay. El, thanks for joining us
You
tonight.
want the whistle, you got to put the camera on.
There you go. Oh, filter. Wow. The night is young. Thanks for joining us tonight, Ella. We really appreciate it. And things out in Vegas are getting hot. You were telling us off air.
Yes.
Okay.
It's supposed to be 108.
108. Man, oh, man. But I know that whole dry heat thing, but if it's 108, it feels 108. I'm sorry.
No, it's the dry heat thing is overrated.
It's
When
overrated,
It's hot there,
right?
It's hot.
Yep, that's what people always say. So, well, we have an interesting show for you tonight. Other than, in addition to the gang being here, we are going to be talking to a gentleman named Paul Dale Roberts. Okay, a very Hollywoodish name, good guy. He was in military intelligence for a while as a decoder, I guess, and I had an opportunity to actually classify some very strange photographs that the U.S. had taken in orbit of all different kinds of UFO shapes and sizes and stuff. He's been on a number of TV shows. He's going to be coming up. Paul Dale Roberts will be coming up a little bit later in the show. We're also going to be talking to Ron Kolek, who is from Boston. I got to wait to see what this guy's accent is like. He's going to be talking to us about the Gulf Breeze 6. Now, Gulf Breeze is a place down in Florida who, in the 80s, there was a gentleman down there who came up with a whole series of spectacular UFO photographs that turned out to be fakes. That's the short version. Now, in 1990, there were 6 people in the Army, military, what do you call someone in the Army? Recruits? They weren't recruits. They were working for military intelligence. What would you say?
Soldiers?
Yeah, I guess. Okay, technicians or whatever.
We used to call them ground pounders.
Whoa, that's the Navy
affectionately.
talking.
Yeah, they called you squids. So they're all rust pickers.
And,
so I
and
understand.
bubblehead because I was on a sub.
There you go. So,
Always the braggart. I've noticed a trend here the last few weeks.
What's the name of the sub you were on there?
The USS Billfish, hull number 676, a sturgeon class.
Okay, that was the tuna fish. What did I think?
Oh, man.
It was
Wow.
Let's get back to
Slandering
this.
the great silent service.
Yeah. Tell them Charlie sent you. Yeah, thanks.
Wow.
So Ron's going to be so the Gulf Breeze 6, these 6 people who were they were soldiers, military intelligence, assigned to military intelligence division in Berlin on their own when AWOL, the 6 of them, came back to the United States and headed for Gulf Breeze, Florida, because they were convinced that the end times were coming and that they were getting orders from up on high from a Ouija board. And it's just this like really crazy story. I mean, I guess I remember hearing about it, but boy, they didn't make a big deal out of it, you know? So anyway, Ron Kolek is going to be talking to us about that tonight. So, and who knows what else is going to be coming up. So, Coco, let me turn to you here. Before we get into that, over your left-hand shoulder, it looks like you have a fan.
Looks like a chopper.
Yeah, what is that? Is that a chopper blade?
Maybe I can tilt the camera here. Hold on one second. That is a large picture of the X-49.
Oh, okay, yep.
It was the cover of Rotor and Wing magazine, December of 2007.
Rotor and Wing. It was the fold-out, okay? The centerfold.
No, it was the cover. It wasn't the centerfold. It was the cover.
Cobra was in the centerfold.
There you go. Him and Burt Reynolds. Chopper.
I'll just hold the...
There you go. Okay, yeah, that's interesting. Okay, some of us have pictures of not helicopters in our office wall.
Yeah, and then if you look, there's the picture
of
the flag.
The flag?
That's the Bedford flag.
Okay.
I like the flag.
Okay. What is that, some intelligentsia flag or something?
No, that's the flag of the American Revolution where the battle started at Lexington and Concord.
I see. Yep.
And so that's there. And if you look around, there's some over here over to the other side of my head on there is some awards for Mrs. Cobra for her service in the Coast Guard when she was in New York City when 9/11 struck.
Oh, really?
She was on duty, in fact. Yeah.
Yeah, huh? Where, on Governor's Island?
Yep, she was there, and she was at the Vessel Traffic Center. That's the people basically that work like an air traffic controller for the ship traffic going in out of New York.
Wow, huh? Gee whiz. Oh, well. That was a long time ago, thank God.
It was.
We've changed a lot since then. So, listen, we were talking earlier off here, you and I, about the F-117.
The plane that never seems to go away.
Right. It's the stealth fighter. It's what most people know as the stealth fighter. Even if it's not really a fighter, it's an attack craft.
No, it's a bomber. It's a bomber aircraft.
And it's that weird looking diamond shape, all black. It was the hero of the first Gulf War. It does not show up on radar. Now it's not invisible, but it puts together different things. Its design, it's the paint coating, the way that the exhaust is it trailed out the back. That radar signals. They bounce off it, but they bounce off it like they'd bounce off a bird flying. And so these things can, not be detected on radar. And if you can't detect them on radar, you're kind of screwed. So as the Iraqis found out. Now, they were around in the 70s, but they were flying in secret. And they finally kind of came out of the closet in the Panama operation and then in 1990 in the first Gulf War. By that time, it's kind of strange, but they were almost like 20 years old, and that's close to the lifespan of some airplane. So they actually were retired soon after the Gulf War because the F-35 and the F-22 were coming online, and they're also stealth fighters. But now people and you and I have talked about this before. I said there's no way that they retired those planes. They're too valuable for doing special ops or whatever. So now it turns out someone actually saw one flying around.
Yeah, this is I'm nuts for the stealth world of aircraft as well as the triangle aircraft shapes that are going on. What we've dealt with or what we've seen coming up is continued reports of these aircraft. Now, they were in a flyable storage capacity. And what that meant is that they were being some of them were being maintained or kept in a condition for flying. But support for them was dwindling down. There were reports, and we talked about it on this show, of their activities and actions in Syria during different levels of operations in Syria. And it appears that recently, because of its very unique shape, as you were talking about, it's an aircraft that, because of its design to minimize any kind of radar return, makes it very, very difficult to be seen on radar. There are ways to see it. The Brits probably are the ones that pioneered the best way of seeing it with using what they call long wave radar to do that. And we did lose one in the Serbia campaigns to some kind of detection. But as I said, we have an aircraft that has a shape and a design that catches the eye. And when it does fly by, it does look like nothing else that you've seen. It does not match the kind of shape that you're expecting to see when you hear the jet sound. So, as we said, they've been in Syria. Obviously, they've continued to be doing some testing work. But just over the last 5-6 days, I've received 2 reports from one from a listener and one from a good friend of mine who's in this kind of work of reporting and breaking it. And we should give credit out to the War Zone Tyler Rogoway, who's a friend of your shows and mine, who's been tracking this. 117 was seen over California in the Los Angeles metropolitan area, which is interesting. That you would have the aircraft showing up, and that means that the sightings were most likely during the day, which is a very unusual time for this aircraft to be flying. It was a Night Hawk.
Yeah, sure.
Not with the K, just the N, because it was an aircraft that flew at night to exploit the absolute best stealth features of it. What is also interesting in that is that from my a friend of both of yours and mine, Mac, JC, should give some applause to.
JC, yeah.
JC sent me, he said, it was also seen in conjunction with a 707 type airframe that was out acting. So that's the C-135 airframe, which could be anything from a tanker, but I'm probably thinking something more in the surveillance rivet joint or one of those various modified frames for doing that. So what's it doing, and why would it be seen? Well, most likely because it's no longer a frontline striker aircraft, as most would think. It's probably engaged in either working with the battle group, the carrier battle group that's getting ready to head to the Western Pacific. I believe that's the Nimitz group that's coming together now.
Okay.
Great ship.
Yes.
Spent some time on her during Desert Storm.
Is it?
And that's most likely what's happening here. But the reason I always love to bring these stories up is much like the SR-71. never talked about. People knew something was going on. It generated a lot of reports. It generated a lot of attention that was going on. And then once the aircraft was unmasked, to use a term that's in vogue these days,
Yes.
the Air Force and DOD couldn't stop talking about it enough. You started to see all kinds of pictures of it. It set a record between New York and Paris under 2 hours. It did all kinds of flybys. The one that NASA was using came up. So in some instances, I think the 117, because it's very old school stealth, is probably being used to help prepare the various crews that are going out to face that level of stealth technology that is burgeoning out of places like China and Russia. No one has been able to quite mimic what it does and how it does what it does. And that's because of the amount of engineering and research that went into that. And there's a very interesting cousin in all this called Tacit Blue. One of these nights we should talk about that.
Yeah, right, true.
Because I am convinced that Tacit Blue, one of the most unusual looking aircraft in the world, it's still very active, or was very active for a number of years, doing incredible deep reconnaissance operations. And it makes the 117 look like a spotlight in comparison to what it can do and the stealth capabilities, is what I've been told.
It's kind of like the one that it looks like a whale with wings.
Yes, it's very, very squared, very rectangular shape to it. It has a very, not very fast, but every indication is this aircraft is nearly invisible. And a lot of detections. Say again, sir? Oh, obviously you can see it from the ground. It's not a optically invisible aircraft. It is a aircraft that does not show up on detection. And to include that it supposedly masks very well in the IR spectrum, meaning you don't get to see its heat source very well either. Same thing with the 117.
Right. The thing about the stealth fighter, as they call it, is that, as I said before, the paint has something to do with absorbing the radar signals. Everything on it is at an angle, so it deflects radar signals as opposed to bouncing it back. They reduce the heat and the exhaust in the back. Everything that's aboard, like everything having to do with the radio and just the things that generate electronic kind of noise that might be picked up, that is really baffled down. It's a system. It's like 8 different things working in conjunction that make this thing not show up in radar.
And then you have techniques and procedures that these guys and gals do not they don't transmit. They have ways of acknowledging signals and indications, but they're not transmitting out, so they don't give that out. The best way I can describe it is radar is much like when you have a flashlight in a dark room. And if you flash it on something that is shiny, you get to see it very well when it crosses into the beam. That's how radar kind of works. But if you have something that is really, really dull, and it doesn't reflect light very well, you're not going to see much of that same kind of return.
Right, yeah.
This aircraft perfected that. Now, probably very few aircraft are as good as what the 117 does. I think the B-2 and the soon-to-be fielded B-21 will be, when you look at their size, absolutely amazing how and nearly invisible they are as well.
Right.
But I think what they've learned from this aircraft and how it's incorporated into other aircraft, into designs, and mainly right now the F-35 and, of course, the F-22. You think about what the F-22 can do. A supersonic but yet still stealth aircraft.
Right.
Amazing.
F-22 is probably the most advanced. It is. It's the most advanced aircraft ever built. It has to be. It's filled with.
I think the F-35 has probably surpassed it.
Think so?
Because of
the performance.
Things that the performance and things of what they can do. The F-22 is a very much it's the ultimate G-pulling, dog-fighting, absolute. You don't want to get into the fight with this aircraft because it doesn't show up on the enemy's radar. But if you do get in close and you were to make the visual contact, as Clubb was saying, this thing can do what it has to do. It's that capable.
Right.
The F-35 is an aircraft that is, if you do see it, it's probably the last thing you're going to see type aircraft, because its ability to plug in and use all the other things around it plus do what it's supposed to do is there.
Right.
And that's why this thing is on the roller. It's just on the runaway cost that it's been on, because it broke so far into that area. That's an incredible part of it.
The F-35s are really incredible. The whole story of the F-22 is it's so advanced that it's filled with artificial intelligence. And I know it has this thing called a bob, because it's called the blackout button because it goes so fast and it can pull so many G's. That means if you're turning, if you're diving, whatever the force of gravity is, it goes up to 4, 5, 6. You see people on those machines spinning around and their faces just
the centrifuge.
Well, the F-22 can pull so many G's that the pilot is most likely going to black out, and as he's blacking out, he hits the bob. That's the blackout button in the plane.
It's actually automatic. It detects when the pilot passes out.
Really, yeah. and the plane will fly itself until he regains consciousness.
It flies itself out of a recovery. So if it detects, because obviously you would probably be moving in a third dimension, and if the hand pulling it around. So now the pilot has passed out, and the nose is pointed down, or it's not in a steady state flight regime.
Yep.
This now allows it to do the recovery and come up. So as the pilot, the really bad thing about the rapid onset of G is you are really messed up for about 30 seconds to 2 minutes when you're coming out. Even people that are very fit and are well trained for it. This is not a pleasant situation.
30 seconds to 2 minutes, man. That would be hours.
You're awake and you're coming to.
Yes.
It's like being punched. Your brain has lost that blood flow.
Yes.
So that's the reason why it's shut down.
Yep.
So it takes you a couple minutes to come around. Now, one of the things I think is really kind of weird, crazy, and I'm sure it'll show up in one of your books here, Mac, in the not too distant future.
On sale everywhere.
And I think that it's a great thing for wingmen to explore.
Go ahead.
If you know you have that capability,
yes,
you take the plane into that regime when you're being chased, knowing that the guy behind you doesn't have that capability. You come out, your plane is flying.
He doesn't.
He's not, and now you drop down on him. You're willing to subject yourself to that. And there is some precedent for that. In World War II, Chuck Yeager used to talk about when they're in the P-51, and when they would get locked on by any of the Messerschmitts or the Focke-Wulf aircraft.
Yes.
They would go into the maximum G pull that everything was going on to the point of blacking out because they knew that you couldn't get a gun solution. They couldn't get a gun solution, and the other guy couldn't get a gun solution, and they would try to defensively get out of it, in a bad position. That person, in that case, being behind you.
I just shut down my camera. Yeah.
I'm really passionate. That's why your camera got shot down. Sorry about that.
Right. Well, yeah. Interesting that these things, the F-17s, might be still flying around out there.
I think they're in an aggressor role. I think that's
like an aggressor role.
Say that they're being used in a very specialized aggressor role. Right. And I think it's indicative of what people are planning on.
Right. I mean, the aggressor role basically is a Top Gun. What Top Gun is that they have a squadron, a bunch of squadrons at Top Gun that the pilots and the airplanes mimic Chinese and Russian airplanes, and our pilots are able to train against them because these people, the aggressor squadron, actually use tactics that the Russians or the Chinese would use. So, but it would make sense now that if the Nimitz carrier force or anyone is going to the Pacific Rim and they're going to be running into stealth aircraft, that we would have one of our stealth aircraft perform in the role of the aggressor, right? How's that?
Right. And it also might be some other applications that are going on as well. Mm-hmm. There may be other assets, other resources out there that the 117 is simulating here.
Yeah, interesting.
I'm not saying that this is 17 forward, which brings us back to my beloved flying triangle airplanes that I talked about.
Yes.
As advanced reconnaissance and targeting airframes that are out there. So that may be how they're able to get that level of activity.
Right. Wow, interesting. Well, just keep your eyes on the sky, as they say, but if it's stealth, you can't see it, not really. And they never fly during the daytime. That might be the weirdest thing of the entire story.
Yeah, to be spotted on the sky, you bet.
Right.
Absolutely.
So, wow, that was interesting. F-17s may be back. We don't know, but we're listening to...
I don't think they ever went away, Matt.
I don't think so, Like the SS-71.
How long have they been around?
Since the early 70s. They flew in secret up at Tonopah in the 70s in secret.
Yeah, late 70s. Right. The original frames started to work out. The plane became, by all accounts of all dates, it seems to be an operational asset from about early or to mid 80s.
Right.
About 85, 86 is when the first squadrons were starting.
So they're all 20 years later. They're old. It doesn't seem it because they're so kind of whiz bang. But I'll tell you what. Why don't we do this? Why don't we take a commercial break now? And we'll be right back. Juan is here, Coco's here, Switch is here, Clubb is here, and Ella is there. Ella, you still with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Do you have your air conditioning on, or do you have a fan on?
Yes.
Oh, really? Do you have a fan just for effect, blowing your hair in the fan? In the window?
I have both, yes. Air conditioner and a fan.
Wow. Okay. All right. Well, I'm just trying to paint the picture for
It's Vegas in the summertime almost.
So let's take that commercial break now, and we'll be right back. You're listening to Mack Maloney's Military X Show here on the Distant Thunder Radio Network. We'll be right back after this.
Do you know where the world's most secret bases are located? Do you know what spooky action at a distance means? Is there a conspiracy by aliens to prevent us from conquering space? And where is the best place in the United States to see a real UFO? Find the answers to all these questions and more in Mack Maloney's new book, Mack Maloney's Haunted Universe. Visit places you never knew existed: the Phantom Tunnels of Tokyo, the UFO Trail in South America, Hong's Hat, and the very mysterious M Triangle. Mack Maloney's Haunted Universe contains hundreds of reports on ghosts, haunted planes and ships, weird celebrity deaths, mysterious sounds, and a breakdown of every monster in America, state by state. You've heard him talk about it on the radio. Now, get all of Mack's paranormal research in one large volume. Mack Maloney's Haunted Universe, with a foreword by the very famous Wan Wan. On sale now in your local bookstore or on Amazon.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to Mack Maloney's Military X Show here on the Distant Thunder Radio Network. This is Mack Maloney. What a show we have here tonight. But let me first introduce the members of the gang, the posse, the crew. Girls, he's here. Hopefully you're fanning yourself and you have your Kleenex. And there's some fan wrote to me, and your wipes.
The wipes, yeah. They come in handy.
The very famous one is here.
Hello, Mac. Hello, girls.
Wow. Okay. Also, up there in the Great White North, looking out of his bunker at the rest of us, Commander Cobra is here.
Good evening, gentlemen. As always, pleasure to be on the wing.
Good evening, Commander.
And at 1-1, I just have to say that each week it gets a little creepier.
It does? Why?
Okay. There's someone else. I was getting that vibe, too. I just didn't want to say anything. What are you drinking? What are you drinking there tonight, Coco? You drinking cocoa?
Sam Adams.
Yeah, don't give that stuff is terrible. Yuppie urine.
Hey.
Anyway, but is that the stealth reflection?
Yes.
Anyway, up there in the bowl of flakes, getting mad. I can tell. Our national correspondent, Switchblade Steve Waters, with us.
I'm keeping an even
keel.
Keel.
Keel,
Okay.
even keel.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Pretty good for a submariner.
even John Keel, and everything's fine.
Good. Okay. Also, our security chief is with us, Willy Clubb. We can't lie in front of him. Willie, you doing okay?
Yeah, I am. Hi, folks. How you doing?
Good. You have.
Hello, Club.
Good.
Got his Whitey Bulger Red Sox hat on
I
today.
didn't. Once again, I wasn't going to say it, but
You're jealous.
they're jealous.
It's the only way to
Well,
Giveaway in
Well,
San
really.
Diego wearing that ball
Yeah,
cap.
you ain't kidding. Also, out there in Las Vegas, keeping an eye on the out west for us is our good friend Ella the Psychic. How you doing, Ella?
I'm doing great. Thank
Okay.
you.
Now, most of us are on camera tonight, and it's first for the show that the majority of us are on camera. Ella is not on
It's not
camera.
mandatory to be on camera.
No.
I just want to point that out.
However,
We're testing it out.
Switch, is not. It doesn't have any clothes on, so that's why he's not on tonight.
That's a bit of an
It's
exaggeration.
hot up in Michigan. I don't think I got a feeling the
Mr.
snow
Maloney.
is still on the ground there. But hey, let the freak flag fly there, Switchy. Okay. But Ella we've had some intense negotiations off here, and it looks like maybe the camera's on next time you're on, Ella.
Yeah, I think I can handle it.
Really? Yeah. Okay. All right.
If you guys can.
Let's take it in baby steps.
Oh, yeah,
Okay,
that's
take
right.
it in baby steps.
That sounds like a challenge.
Maybe.
I'll step
Maybe.
up to that plate, Ella.
Okay. All right.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, creepy detector
Well,
going
okay,
up again.
yeah. Is that what that buzz was? Okay.
Give me a fastball right down the middle.
Very much the creepy detector
Yeah, okay.
going up.
Now we are at DEFCON 1. Now listen. So the gang is here, and we wanted to throw at the club because Club has the security report for us tonight. But before we do that, we have to do two things. Number one, we have to salute Coco because he's getting mad. Okay, now we're on camera, so now we have to do. We can't fake it anymore. They want one. All right, call it off, please, JJ.
Yeah, let me get this as recorded here. Okay.
Okay, all right.
I can fake it.
Okay, all right.
10. Hit.
Oh, wrong hand. How's that?
Excellent. You can drop it when I drop mine.
Okay,
That's right.
Dave,
You got to wait for the commander to drop his before anybody can drop
and
theirs.
he's talking about the salute. So
That's right.
okay, now switching.
Yeah, just to take the creepy factor right out of it. Thanks.
When I was in boot camp,
Here we go.
I was in boot camp, I did get talked to very politely when I did a salute.
Really?
Well, I saluted the officer that was coming the other way.
Yes.
And I didn't wait for him to drop his salute, and I kept walking.
Oh, and what happened? 30 days in the brig?
It was a teachable.
Somebody needed a wipe. Let's just say that.
It was a polite, teachable moment. It was all cool.
Really? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, everybody had their misters.
Yep.
I'm sure. Wow.
Did you know I had a similar issue than you, JJ?
What happened?
I didn't salute, and I ended up in a dumpster with the toothbrush.
Oh, really?
no.
Yeah. Okay.
I did, and I had to spend about 3 hours in there, and it was not pleasant.
Now, was this the U.S. Army?
Yeah, at Fort Dix, New Jersey.
There you go. All right. Well named. Anyway, so everyone has been introduced, right? Right?
Yep.
Except for.
Except for who? We talked to Ella.
Did we get Ella?
Ella?
I guess we.
Did we introduce you? Ella?
Oh, that's because you wanted to salute. That.
Yeah, we talked about the video and everything.
I saluted.
You got to keep up.
Oh, thank you, Ella.
You're welcome.
Okay, so now this is time for.
But I don't know if you introduced Steve. Did you? Yes, you did.
Yeah, because he's the one without any clothes. So
he's stealth tonight.
So anyway, Willy Clubb is our security chief. We get lots of fan mail in the old-fashioned way through the U.S. Postal Service. We get a lot of items people send us. Willie and his corporation, his company, go through it, check it for security, check it for dangerous hazmat stuff, and then filters it and then reports on it to us every few months. So, Willie, everything okay as far as this month, this quarterly report? Anything weird?
Yeah, Matt, there's a lot going on since the last time we spoke.
Uh-oh.
But most of the activity seems to be with Juan.
Mm-hmm.
Some reason he continues to get the bulk of the physical gifts.
Why is this?
Well, you're the most popular
I
one.
scratch my head, and I can't figure it out. But I know you're a good-looking guy. You got the voice, so maybe that's it,
Okay, all right. It's the voice, but okay, what does he got?
But anyways, I do want to cover a bit of about your gifts, Juan. We have had a difficulty. We've had to keep most of them, though, in the submergent tank. There have been some problems, but now the tank has sprung a leak. So something in there apparently is very acidic.
We're going to get a bill for that.
We lost the emergent tank, so Mac, I'll be sending you an invoice.
Okay. Pistol Pete.
Sorry, Mac.
CC him on that.
But anyways, we'll move on from that. What I do want to update you on is that Juan, you continue to receive your usual assortment of what the kids call adult toys.
Adult toys. Okay.
They're various sizes, mostly black in color.
Oh.
So one was rainbow colored.
Sending a message.
It was one size larger from the one you received last year.
I remember that one.
I did measure that, so I'm aware of that. In addition, for my analysis, that larger one has been used.
Oh, I was going to ask you that. Yeah.
Yeah. It
was it washed
extensively?
Doesn't sound it. Okay, next. Go ahead.
Oh, baby.
Yeah, well, in addition, that was a tricky one because it was also accompanied by a DVD set of X-rated Downton Abbey show.
Wow, the Downton Abbey X-rated bloopers.
Yeah, and that
Number one.
It's an unusual combination, but it appears that whoever used the device likes Downton Abbey. So
There you go. So your friends, you got something to talk about right away there, JJ.
So this is a parody on Downton Abbey? Is that what it was? A porn parody?
It's an X-ray.
I don't know, but you'll see it. I'm going to send it along to you.
Okay.
What was it called? Getting Down Abbey?
There you go. Wow, switch out of the blue.
Well, I happen to be a fan of the show, so I
Getting down on that.
Okay.
By the way, Juan, there was also a recipe in there for Dash-on stew.
Dash-on stew, yeah. Okay.
It was ripped out of the Survivalist cookbook. And it had a note on it, and it said, 1-1, don't overcook.
Don't overcook the dogs, Okay. Okay. Wonk.
It can be
I think
well
that's
stewed,
pretty
is what
much-
you're saying.
Yes,
Well stewed,
well
but not
stewed.
overcooked.
Right.
Yeah, don't overcook.
It's tough. Okay, wow,
Well, I think
Juan.
I'll, as far as Juan,
Okay.
I think I'll end on that note, Juan, and
Thank you.
on Cobra did have some unusual items, so I think we ought to cover those.
Okay.
It was really an unusual mailbag this time because of the sexual inquiries that came through.
Okay.
Yeah, most of them said a romantic scene, but just about all of them insist that he wear his flight suit and his helmet.
There you go. See, that's his brand.
And several said just the helmet.
Just the helmet.
Works for Mrs. Cobra. Keep moving.
Well, apparently one of the inquiries that came through, they must know you because they requested that you wear your red open crotch Speedo.
That's not good for pulling G's.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Steve?
But I figured you'd understand it.
All right.
You want to grab that, Steve? You want to take that?
I wouldn't touch pulling G's with a 10-foot
There you go.
padlock.
All right.
right,
Name
there
of
we
our
go.
new album, Pulling G's. Go ahead. Okay.
Well, Cobra,
Cobra.
you also received a recipe.
Now the
I'm
rest.
not sure if it's related, but it's for boiled rabbit stew. It came with many instructions. In
Maybe in
photos.
the last century, the boiled rabbit stew would have been appropriate.
Wait for
but,
the French line. Will you? There, go. Don't be so impatient.
Sure.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Club. Sorry.
Well, I mean, I just wanted to say that it had these instructional photos plus a short video, and it had a title on it, "Say Goodbye to Bugs, You Jerk."
Okay. See, it's
Not animated. So,
not an animated short. It's a fatal attraction.
Yes, I was
Okay, you got
working
that?
on it. I was
Okay.
trying to work on the last century
All right.
aspect in when you curtailed my
that was
open
last century.
Speedo G pulling. So there you
rudely
go.
curtailed it.
Rudely.
Yeah,
curtailed it.
rudely.
Well, when he said boiled rabbit, you nodded as if you've had boiled rabbit before. Have you?
Hep and wrapper only.
Okay. Next, please, Club.
I don't get that.
No one does.
yeah, I'd like to also include, we've had some activity for Ella.
Yeah, look at some fan.
What?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, there was probably a number of requests for photos.
Well, okay.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Is that excluding what's come from
And,
the staff of the show?
We're going to talk about that on air. Go ahead.
And in fact, someone sent in a request for a video, and they included a script. But they said they would settle for a silent video.
Okay.
Okay.
I
Wow.
got to tell you, Mac,
Who wrote that
I
stuff?
think the first page would make it past the censors, but I don't know. We're
Is that
still
bad?
looking in that.
Okay.
You can forward that to Mac.
That's right. We'll look into that. You're right.
Yeah, oh, it's on its way.
Mac can cleanse that.
He'll read it. Okay. All right. Ella, getting into the fans' minds.
Now, some of our fan mail sometimes is colored with a little gamesmanship and, jokes and things like that. So don't be alarmed.
Right.
But the Downington Abbey
why-
stuff,
that's
that
why
was
Club is
that was rock hard true.
Wow.
Jokes and quote. Okay. Well, Club. So that's interesting. Ella is.
Yeah, also for Ella, apparently there's what I'll classify as an unusual fan.
Yes.
They wrote to say that you'd make a real hot Mother Teresa. I have no idea what that means.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, no one does. I'm not sure this will even, hear the light of day to tell you the truth, but let's keep going on. Good, please.
Well, I also have some activity here, Switchy, for you.
Uh-oh.
I don't know if you remember a couple of years ago, you got a number of people urging you to run for president.
Remember that?
Yeah, I remember it clearly.
Yes.
Yeah, well, back then I think it was, about 7 people, but this time it's 77.
Oh, come on. Switch.
And I got to tell you, Mac,
All his
as a
relatives.
security chief, I have to tell you that this seems to be a movement of some kind.
Yes.
All this pro-switchy stuff.
Right. Right.
And in fact, one of them suggested that you select Mothman as your vice presidential running mate.
Okay. All right.
I was afraid if
good
that would
choice.
happen, I wouldn't live long because he's kind of ambitious.
Oh, really? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, Mac, we're concerned here in security that you might think about stomping out before it really
Yes.
gets out of hand.
Teach them a little bit of a lesson. Okay. I hear you, Clint.
Well, Mac, I didn't want to leave you out.
Wow. Okay.
So you got just one letter this time. You don't seem to get a lot of them, but
I know.
you got one this time.
Not on.
And let me just read it to you. It's short.
Okay.
A dude, and because of censoring, it's an acronym WTF.
Mm-hmm.
is with you. The number of times you hit that drum roll button in the last few shows is absolutely pathetic. Your shows are fraud. Nobody gives two F words about Broadway. And nobody gives a crap about a guy you never met face to face on what the hell he ate for breakfast this morning.
Ooh.
You are
But
not
you did
funny. Emphasize with double exclamation points. And it's unusual because it says "Love Mom,"
Oh, Mom is reading it to me again. Okay.
and it did end with "P.S. Hi to Coco."
Hi to Coco again. Okay. There you go. Mom says hi there, Coco.
As always.
Wow.
Coco gets
That's
all
all.
the props all the time.
I'm good with moms. Always have been.
I've had the flu that didn't last as long as that bit. But we do need Matt after dark stuff. So why don't we do this? Why don't we end the misery now? And we'll take a commercial break, and who knows what will be next. You're listening to Mack Maloney's Military Excel Show here on the Distant Thunder Radio Network. We'll be right back after this.
It's early medieval Europe. Norse marauders are pouring down from the north. Steppe riders threaten from the east, and Moorish raiders are surging up from the south. Now, as the Vikings plan an invasion of Ireland, the country's aging king must somehow protect his nation. But who is up to the task? Nordic sagas tell us an obscure and unlikely hero arises to save his people. Wolf of Clontarf leaps into history as a nightmare to the Norse and avenger for the Celts. It's Vikings meets Braveheart as this legendary Irish warrior, some medieval special operations forces, and a young woman spy help the Irish king defeat the Viking invaders. It's a tale spanning 15 years and leading up to the most decisive battle of the Middle Ages. That's Wolf of Clontarf, a new novel from Thomas J. Howley, now on Amazon.
Welcome back, everyone, to Mack Maloney's Military Excel Show here on the Distant Thunder Radio Network. And this is Mack Maloney. Well, on the show we have for you tonight, let me introduce the members of the squadron. How's that? Instead of the posse. It's also a French word.
Kolek squadron.
Girls.
Yep.
The voice you hear. Okay. Start the fans. Start the mister. And open up that second big box of cleaning. It's the very famous Juan is here.
Hello, Mac. Hello, girls. How's it going tonight? Great show so far.
Every time I see that, I see it like a younger woman like Whistler's mother in a rocking chair. With her big box of Kleenex. I don't know why that comes to me, but it does.
I prefer the smaller boxes of Kleenex now.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, they're easy to handle.
We have to.
With my allergies, I need them.
Really? Yeah. Okay. TMI.
Yeah.
Coco had to drop out for a little while, but he'll be back soon. So up there in the bowl of flakes, very good friend, Switchblade Steve Wood.
Great to be here.
Great to be there. Okay, we got to get into your culinary thing in a minute, but let's introduce everyone else here. Also sitting in with us tonight, Security Chief Willy Clubb. Willie, how you doing?
Doing great. Hi, folks. How you doing?
Hello, Willie.
If you could see him on video,
Hello.
if you've ever seen any kind of like recreation documentary on Whitey Bulger, you could be his stand-in there, Willie.
Yeah, you could.
And I'm saying that only in the
I
best
didn't want
way.
to be the first one to say it, but
All right. Take it
Yeah.
as a
We might be
compliment.
related.
Okay, we might be related.
In thought or in deed?
Both.
Oh, there you go. Ella, friend Ella, the psychic from Las Vegas, is here. Ella, how are you?
I'm fabulous. Thank you.
Fabulous. You know what? You sound fabulous, as it turns
he
out.
does.
Thank you so much.
Our
So
special-
do you.
Really? Really?
Yes.
You just say that, though, really, right?
No,
you
I
just-
told you. That's how we met. I told you I liked your voice.
Okay, let's move on to our guest.
Yep.
Um,
Matt can't handle the adulation.
Joining us tonight, yeah, listen to you. Listen to you. We have to get a psychologist when we went up in our ratings. Remember that? Yeah. Remember what
we
he
did.
said about you? What they say about you? You were the action man, right?
That's right.
And you walked around for a year with a big A on you and a
That's right.
cape, correct?
A for action. I'm glad it wasn't A for something else.
Okay, there you go. Okay, well, you never really knew, did you? Okay, if our guest is still here, let's introduce him. I think calling in from California, we called him Paul Dale Roberts. Are you there, Paul?
I'm right here.
PDR, there we go. Now, we really have to,
Yeah.
let's...
Thank you.
Okay, Wow, that's the sound of one hand clap. Now, thanks for joining us. Okay, we really appreciate it. You're on video.
Thank you for having us.
Whereabouts in California are you?
Near Sacramento, Elk Grove, California.
Okay, near Sacramento. Okay, and where the hell is that? All I know is where San Francisco is.
It's right in the middle of California.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So yeah, it's smack dab in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
It's our capital.
Now,
north of San Francisco, right up 101.
101.
Yep.
Okay. Now, are you born and raised in California?
Yeah, born and raised. I was born in Fresno, California, where the California Raisins are from.
Okay, all right. The California Raisins, the singing raisin group. Okay. All right. Good to know. All right. And do you surf?
No, but my brother Joe was a very avid surfer.
Surfer, really? Yeah.
Surfer Joe, that, huh?
Surfer Joe.
Yeah, Surfer Joe. Yeah, Surfer Joe.
Interesting. Okay.
Surfer Joe.
And now, Paul, you're actually somewhat of a celebrity. You've been on a number of TV shows. You're good friends with Penn and Teller, correct?
I wouldn't say I was good friends with them, but I was definitely on Penn and Teller's. I can't say that word, but the episode for the apocalypse.
Okay. And what's with the little guy? Does he really talk, or what's going on with him?
Yeah, he really talks.
He does
really talk.
But doesn't.
And I did have a chance to talk to him over the phone.
Oh, so, okay. All right. Yeah. Yep. Is he the brains or the brawn behind that act?
Which one, the no talker or the talker?
I get a feeling that the no talker is
the talker is definitely the brains.
Oh, the talker is the brains. Okay, the big guy.
Oh,
yeah. Okay, yeah, he's a funny guy, I guess. So now take us back. Now you were in the U.S. Army, is that right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what years did you serve?
Okay, from 73 to 76, and I had a 3-year break. Then I went back into 1979 to 1986.
Went back in. Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Did you join up on your own volition, or were you drafted?
Oh yeah, I joined.
Okay,
yeah.
And that's at the end of the tail end of the Vietnam War. If I get my dates right.
I actually have a very funny story why I went back in.
Okay, let's hear it.
But from 73 to 76. I got the chance because there was a major drug problem over in Germany. Okay. So they had a thing called the Khaki Mafia. And the Khaki Mafia came all the way from Vietnam to Germany, and that's distribution of drugs and everything else. So they recruited a lot of young men who were streetwise to work with the drug suppression team, CID, Criminal Investigation Division. Okay. So I did that for 3 years.
Wow.
Testified at Article 32's court-martials. So that's where I gained my investigative skills from doing that. But then I was 3 years out, and don't laugh, but I actually got into disco dancing. Yeah. So I was a professional. It's
hard not to laugh. Okay. Well, that's pretty cool, though.
You can actually look me up. Yeah, thank you.
Look you up.
I was actually the Disco King of Sacramento.
Wow.
And and I danced 205 hours of disco dancing. That's 8.5 days. Ooh. So I did that.
Like a
straight? Not straight.
Yeah, on 8.5 days with a 5-minute break on every hour.
What?
Wow.
Yeah. In fact, if you look in Wikipedia disco and go into disco dancing,
I'm writing this down.
You'll see my name, Paul Dale Roberts, in there. That I danced a marathon.
Interesting. Now, how did you get it? Oh, go ahead, please. You ask a question, please.
Well, I just want to know if you still walk under your own power.
No, it's all right. Kept you in shape, right? Disco, I guess.
Yeah, I do a lot of walking with the dogs, but I do not dance anymore. No.
Well, just get up and dance. You're on video. Just give us a little dance there. Give us a little bit.
No.
Pretend the Tramps are on or something.
No,
Disco Inferno?
No.
Now, I got to say one thing about disco. And we do talk about music on the show a lot, as it turns out.
Okay.
When disco happened, because I was more like a rock and roll Beatle guy. When disco happened, it really did seem like it was manufactured and so on. But it got people dancing again, because you can't dance to the Beatles. You know what I mean? But it got people dancing again in the early 70s, and it was just a different way of making music. And when you go back and listen to some disco songs, they have some interesting percussion and bass playing. Some of them are actually pretty well put together, pretty well produced. And they're not just music. A lot of people used to say disco was music. And, maybe some of it was, but a lot of it was really kind of well produced. And, I never danced to it, though. And no, I didn't want to be seen in the same room.
The reason why I became a disco dancer is because when I was working undercover CID, Criminal Investigation Division in Germany,
yes,
I had to go to all the discotheques.
Yes.
So I picked up on dancing. So when I got out of the service, that's what happened. My very first job was with Arthur Murray's as a dance instructor.
Oh, wow.
So I did that.
Wow.
And then 1979, disco died.
Yes.
So I was performing on stage and everybody was booing me and everybody had T-shirts that said disco sucks.
Oh, yes, okay.
And then I came to realize, hey, disco's dead.
Yes.
And then,
those are the
okay,
clues.
now here's the funny part.
Yes.
I'm sitting in a movie and I'm watching James Bond.
Okay.
So I'm sitting there watching this and I go, I wonder what those military intelligence guys did. So before I knew it, I was talking to an Army recruiter, and before I knew it, I was signing on the dotted line and going back into the Army.
Wow.
Getting back in the
Military
game.
intelligence.
Wow.
Holy cow. Yeah.
What a
Huh?
path to get back in the game. That's amazing.
Now, did you tell the recruit? Did you tell
that Army recruiter was a smooth talker, let me tell you.
Did you tell him you were the Disco King, that he was actually recruiting the Disco King?
Well, okay, here's the funny story. Okay.
Yes.
I got to PICK, Photo Interpretation Center in Korea.
PICK. Okay.
And when I got there,
yes,
these guys already knew because they saw that I was in the newspaper for having the Guinness Book of World Records in disco dancing.
Okay.
So they said, hey, you're that disco guy, blah, blah, blah. And I said, yeah. They said, well, we got to take you to the Sportsman's Club in Seoul, Korea. And there's this Puerto Rican guy who thinks he's all of that, and you can beat him with your dancing. I said, disco's dead.
Wow.
They said, well, we're now in Korea. Disco just started. And before I knew it, I was at this club, and I beat the Puerto Rican guy, and then I was making Korean movies disco dancing.
Really? Yeah. What the? Wow.
That's something you don't see on somebody's resume.
That's for
very
sure.
often.
Other
Are these on
activities.
YouTube someplace, Paul?
You must.
YouTube? Are some of these on YouTube?
YouTube?
Some of your dancing.
Oh, no.
No?
You can type in Paul Dale Roberts Disco, and you'll see articles on it.
Okay. No
But none of your
visuals?
dances were on YouTube at all.
No.
No.
But it was filmed on the news, but it's probably archived someplace. I don't know.
Okay. So let me ask you this. Now that we're on this the Disco Avenue, so was the anytime anyone gets into, let's say, this brand of entertainment, anytime anyone starts a rock band, the real reason they're doing it is they want to get girls. Okay, is that why? Did you feel that you were able to meet
chicks,
by your disco dancing skills?
I did have a nice little entourage during that time. So, yeah.
This is a movie.
This is
okay, go ahead. You were going to tell. Go ahead.
Okay, so anyway, so 1979, I went back into the service, and it's all because of a James Bond movie.
Which movie was it?
I forget which one it was, but
it's 79, huh?
Yeah, 1979.
Wow. Yeah, that's that probably.
It was a Roger Moore movie.
It would have been Roger Moore.
Roger Moore?
I believe it was Roger Moore.
Roger Moore.
Octopussy.
Wait a minute. We're going to have to cut that.
Maybe View to a Kill.
Huh.
View to a Kill. That was the 80s, wasn't it?
So.
Great Duran Duran song in that.
Yeah, there you go. Dan Duran. Still around.
Yep.
So Paul, so now you're in this position. You're in this military intelligence position. I guess you're looking at photos taken in outer space in orbit. Is that right?
Right. So at that time, I was in Seoul, Korea, at Yongsan Barracks, and I was with the 501st Military Intelligence Battalion. So I was working with Photo Interpretation Center in Korea with image interpreters, and I was a 97 Bravo intelligence analyst, and my job was work with those image interpreters and do SIP maps and stuff like that. So it was on one particular day that 6 photographs came in. My assignment was very simple, just to give it a number.
Okay.
So each photograph represented a video. I didn't see the videos. I only saw the photograph. So let's say the first photograph was of something cigar shape taken by our reconnaissance satellites. And the image interpreters, what they would do is they would analyze these hot rolls. And hot rolls are all these photographs that they look at of red china, and of North Korea.
Mm-hmm.
And these hot rolls, they come from Osan Air Force Base. And we would actually go in a black sedan, tinted windows. We had a little play card in front of the on the dashboard said, "Do not stop this vehicle for any reason."
Wow.
And we take off from Yongsan Barracks to Osan Air Force Base to pick up these hot rolls. Now, there was a combination on the lock. I had one half of the combination, and the other guy with me would have the other half.
Wow.
We'd open up the trunk, pull out the suitcase. Again, half of the combination on the suitcase, half the combination he would have. Open that up, put the hot rolls in, close up the suitcase, close up the trunk, and head on back to Yongsan Barracks.
Mm-hmm.
And these 6 photographs that I had, my assignment, very simple, give it a number.
Okay.
And the very first photograph was something of cigar shape. It was taken by a reconnaissance satellite of something cigar shape.
In space.
And what was really interesting is on the back of the photo, it said intelligent movement. And I looked at that and I said, wow. Okay. So the military actually is still investigating. Project Blue Book, they closed that down, in 1969?
Yes.
But here we are in 1981, and we have photographs coming in, and it's telling me that the military is interested in UFO activity.
Still doing it. Yep. Still doing it.
Yeah. So that just kind of blew me away.
Yeah. Yep. Wow.
And that was... Now, when I got it, one of the other reasons I got into military intelligence is the fact that I was interested in UFOs. And I said, if anybody knows anything about UFOs, it would be our military intelligence. And in 1976, when I was still in Sacramento, I had just gotten out of the Army. I had a girlfriend named Helen Lang, and I was living with her.
Okay.
And we lived in this apartment in Sacramento.
Lois's sister.
And it was... one particular day, she comes in to the apartment and she was screaming. She goes, "There was a UFO 200 feet above me." And I go, "What?" And I thought she was just making it up, but she was like hysterical. She was crying and everything else. And I said, "Okay, if you're telling the truth, I'm going to go ahead and drive you down to the Sacramento Sheriff's Department and you're going to make a report." So when we got there, they gave us an 800 number. And it was the UFO Center, and it was run by J. Ellen Hynek.
Oh, right. Okay, sure.
Yeah. So she filed this report, and about 2 weeks later, I had already broken up with her.
Okay, wow.
2 weeks later.
What happened?
Oh, that's a long story.
Okay, go ahead.
But 2 weeks later, guess who calls me? J. Ellen Hynek.
Really? Yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah. So I actually got to talk to him on the telephone. He goes, "Yeah, I need to talk to Helen." I said, "Helen no longer lives here. We broke up, blah, blah, blah." He says, "Well, did she describe to you what she saw?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "I can even draw it." He goes, "Go ahead and draw it and send it to me." I said, "Okay, I will." And he says, "What were you doing at the time?" I said, "I was watching TV." And let me tell you, Mac, at that time, I wasn't really into UFOs.
Okay.
But anyway, I was watching TV, and it went static mode. I was watching Dick Van Dyke's The Comic.
Okay, sure.
And so I even knew what movie I was watching. And he says, "What happened?" I said, "It went static." He goes, "Usually that's what happens if there's a UFO nearby. Car engines will stall.
Yep.
TV, radios go into static mode." So because of that UFO experience, I joined military intelligence thinking that they knew something about UFOs.
Mm-hmm, right.
And I was correct, because that one particular day, those 6 photographs came in, and on the back of each one said intelligent movement.
So what were they? What were the 6 photographs? Were they all of this cigar-shaped object or different?
No, they were all different. You had cigar, you had disc, you had globe, you had some kind of like ball plasma. That's how I could describe it. Mm-hmm. One almost like star-like, and the other one, it was just kind of strange. It was like if you take Play-Doh and you just twist it around.
Oh, wow. Huh.
So it was like 6 different photographs, and each of them represented a video. And it was just blew me away that on the back of those pictures it said intelligent movement.
Right.
So, and those photographs, after I gave them a number, it went to the DIA, Defense Intelligence Agency, and then from there it went to the CIA, and from there into a black void.
Disappeared.
Disappeared.
Right.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Good.
Yeah,
the one that had didn't really have much of a shape. Did it look like it could have been biological?
Yeah, it could have. Really thinking about it, yeah, you could say that. Yeah,
Existing in outer space, a biological entity.
Yeah.
Well, there are people have claimed to have filmed biological creatures in the infrared in our skies here, not necessarily extraterrestrial. But that would have been when Dr. Hynek had the Center for UFO Studies in Evanston, Illinois, long after he left Blue Book.
He was a scientist that the Air Force initially hired to be their scientific advisor in Operation Blue Book, which was this, kind of, I don't want to say it was a phony operation, but they gave lip service to a lot of stuff. If they knew that, if a lot of people reported a bright light on September 3rd at, 10:30 a.m. over Atlanta, Georgia, they knew that Venus was very bright that night, and they'd say, hey, we've solved it. It was Venus. But ones that they couldn't solve, they just didn't even respond to. They didn't even address, So he was their advisor for a while, and then he got to see so much evidence that he quit. He says, there's something going on here, and I can't, just whitewash it like the government wants me to do. So he became kind of like the rock star, the first rock star of like the UFO community. And he had his head screwed on straight, which was great, and he was a good guy. But now he's in that really bad TV show, Switchy, right?
Well, they canceled it, fortunately.
Did they really? Yeah, that was...
They took artistic license to the point where it doesn't mean anything.
That was brutal. Yeah, he was running around and jumping around on vines and stuff. Yeah, an action hero. So, wow. But, that was interesting. You talked to that, to like a superstar of all this.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And now, of course, I'm a paranormal investigator. I'm very much interested in UFOs, cryptids, ghosts, demons, you name it. I consider myself a 14 investigator, so I investigate everything paranormal. And I've done, outside of Area 51, Mount Shasta. Mount Shasta has all kinds of activity. That's a crazy place for activity.
Yep.
And I am married to a woman who's a psychic medium.
Really?
And the reason why she's a psychic medium is actually when she was a child, she was abducted by UFOs.
Wow.
By a UFO, yeah.
Is she there right now? Any chance that she's there? Bring her on in.
Yeah.
Hey, come on.
She's over at her neighbor's house.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay. But I got to tell you this story, though.
Go ahead.
Okay. So my wife, and you can actually look it up.
Okay.
You can Google Deanna Jackson Stinson.
Okay.
And, there was one particular day, and it just blew me away. We're driving down the road, and like I said, she's a psychic medium, and she goes, pull into the parking lot. And I go, okay. I said, what for? And she wouldn't tell me. She goes, just pull in. I got to take a picture. And she goes, there's something in the sky. Now, I'm telling you, Mac and everybody else, I couldn't see anything in the sky except blue sky. Okay. She snaps a photo, and in her photo, she has 3 UFOs disc-shaped in the photo.
Really? Yeah.
I said, what? She goes, yeah. She goes, I felt it. I knew it was there. And, anyway, we both work for the Costa Rica Times, so we put the information out there, what happened. Well, one day we're sitting in Barnes & Noble's. We pick up 14 magazine, and we're looking through it, and sure enough, they had Deanna's photo of the UFOs in that magazine.
Really? Yeah.
So it went worldwide. We're borrowed.
Did she get paid? Did she get paid for it?
So it was.
Did she get paid for
amazing.
It? Did you get paid for it?
No. We didn't get
I would have
paid,
sued them. Yeah. So,
Paul, can I ask you a question about the wife's abduction?
Oh, Whitey. I mean,
is this something that's ongoing, or is it a one-time event?
Since we've been married, we've been married since 2014. I think, if I recall, that she was visited one time, but it doesn't seem like they do anything. They don't actually take her nowhere.
Okay.
So yeah. I haven't. The only thing I've ever witnessed is when she took that photo. But then she's actually has done it, I think, like 5 times where she felt something. And there was another incident. We're going I-5, like towards Redding, when we're in Sacramento. And she goes, Paul, well, she didn't have her camera with her. She goes, Paul, she goes, there's a black cube in the sky.
Yes.
I go, what? A black cube? Well, mind you, the traffic was going crazy, and I'm trying to pay attention to the road.
Yes.
She goes, there's a black cube in the sky. And so I take a look just for a second, and sure enough, there was a black cube in the sky.
Wow.
So how she does that, I don't know, but she's done it for like 5 different times with me there.
Wow, that's crazy, huh? Jeez.
Yeah.
So we're talking to...
Gotta get her on the show.
Paul. Yeah, anytime she wants to come on, let's go. In fact, go over in the neighbors and drag her over. Paul Dale Roberts, we're talking to. You've had quite a life there, my friend. You were in military intelligence at the time, and you saw some what had to be UFO photos or just like some strange craft up in orbit. And you were also Fresno's Disco King, correct? Fresno?
Sacramento's Disco King.
Okay. All right.
What a combination.
Okay. All right. So did you meet your wife through your disco antics?
No. She actually came. She actually met me through my organization, Halo Paranormal Investigations.
Okay.
And she came to me because of all her psychic abilities. She had some questions about the paranormal. And before I knew it, I was dating her. And before I knew it, I married her.
Wow, before you knew it. Okay. Well, good for you. All right. You've had quite a life. That's cool. So now you've been on some TV shows, right? I mean, Penn and Teller.
Absolutely. Ghost Adventures.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and so what do you have?
What was your gig on Penn and Teller? What
you do?
What was going on that show?
Oh, okay. So it was remember the 2012 Mayan prophecy and the apocalypse possible? Yeah. So anyway, I had written an article about it. I never said the world was going to come to an end in 2012.
Right.
But they liked my article. They said, "Hey, Paul, would you like to be on the show?" And I said, "Yeah, sure, why not?" So the whole thing was they were making fun of people who were actually saying that the world's coming to an end in 2012.
Yes.
My belief was there was going to be maybe some changes.
Okay.
So they were trying to get me to say the world was coming to an end in 2012. I said, no, I'm not saying that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's good publicity and there's bad publicity, and that's bad publicity. And I never said it, and I never said it in my article.
Okay.
So, so they would just have me do some crazy things like, okay, so this one pyramid had all these steps. They said, well, Paul, let's count the steps and see if it correlates with the 2012 prophecy, blah, blah, blah. So there's one part where I'm climbing up the steps and I'm counting all these steps. And I think I get to like number 52. And I said, and I'm holding my knees. I'm buckled down. I'm out of breath. And I go, I lost count. And so it was wow. And here you have a pamphlet. It tells you exactly how many steps there are.
No,
yeah. So they just had a lot of fun with me.
So they flew you down there? They brought you down? Is that Chichen Itza?
Yeah, they flew me down to Icha or something like that, Mexico.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So you're down there. How long were you down on the ground in Mexico filming this?
For about a week.
Really? Yeah? Right. A lot of coke and hookers involved in the
no.
Oh,
but they had a lot of fun, and they Penn and Teller actually even said that they apologized at the end of the show. They said, "Hey, Paul, we apologize for putting you through all that." Mm-hmm. So that was kind of nice.
Did they pay you? Did they pay you?
Oh yeah. They paid me.
How much? Tell us.
They paid for the hotel.
Okay.
I think they only gave me like $500. They paid for the hotel. They paid for the food.
Yep.
They bought me some shirts.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Now, the concept of the show, Paul, is that they try and blow holes through whatever story it is.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Did they contact you?
Hence the title. I'm not going to give the title, but it's a BS. It tells you what it is.
Did they contact you, Paul?
Yes, because they read my article.
Out of the blue?
Mm.
Yep.
Yeah. After they read my article, before I knew it, they were calling me. Mm-hmm. I'm still friends with Aaron Yapolsky, and he's one of the producers of that show, and now he's doing some other show. He's doing the Holzer Files now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, that's good. What other TV shows were you on, or were you on any others?
Yeah, travel channels, Ghost Adventures, Travel Channel's Ghost Bait, Mysteries of Angels and Demons.
Oh.
Yeah. In fact, if anybody's interested, you can just type in Paul Dale Roberts IMDb. That's what I like about the internet, because if someone says, "Hey, Paul, you're saying this and you're saying that," oh, okay, you can look it up on the internet. Boom, there it is.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I am. What is it? IMPD, right?
IMDb.
IMDb.
Yeah. IMPB.
Internet Movie Database.
Here we go.
Yeah. Yes.
Say it again, Wani. Say it.
Internet Movie Database.
What's the acronym?
M as in Mary, B as in Bravo. I mean, D as in David, B as in Bravo.
Okay.
we got the best minds working on this.
Just Google his name.
Come on, you use that site all the time.
Yeah, I know.
Paul, have you written any books about your UFO experiences?
Oh, yeah. Again, on the internet, you can just go in there and Paul Dale Roberts, Amazon.com, and you see all the books that I've either written or contributed to.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, I think I've written now about 130 books.
Wow.
And my wife, she's written probably about the same amount.
You know, like kind of paranormal, mystical stuff?
Yeah, she does metaphysical. She does a lot of metaphysical type books.
Wow, huh?
And I do paranormal investigative. So, like every investigation I go to,
yes,
I write an article about it.
Oh, good, yeah.
And even if we find nothing, I still write an article about it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, and where do the articles wind up? Where do they wind up?
Oh, the best place is Costa Rica Times.
Costa Rica, the country.
Yeah, Costa Rica Times. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Have you been down to Costa Rica?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
That's what Tom Brady does. Tom Brady.
Yeah. Costa Rica. Yeah, because I did my little investigation over there. Yes. They have these spears. They're sitting on the ground. They don't know where they come from.
Oh, yeah, yes.
Yeah. So,
I've seen those, right.
So,
they're like big cement balls, and they have no idea who made them.
I've seen them, and it's like, it really blows me away. It's like, where do they come from?
And really old.
And the only place you can think of, they had to come from the sky, the way they, and there's like some of them, you can see like where it impacted the earth. Mm-hmm. So it looked like it actually fell there. So
right, yeah, okay, yeah. Maybe they were experimental balloons, and they say maybe we shouldn't make these things out of cement, right? Who knows?
But in my investigations, I've done Skinwalker Ranch or Utah Valley. I didn't actually go to the ranch, but I went into the valley where the ranch is.
Okay.
So I did Skinwalker Ranch outside of Area 51, the Tower of London.
So do you have an agent? Do you have an agent that getting you all these gigs?
I just find really good deals for traveling. So I'll go usually off season. So I'll get something good. Okay. And I usually try to pick a place that has a lot of paranormal activity. Right. So I went to Aruba because I got a lot of information that Natalie Holloway's ghost was actually seen in Aruba.
Really? Yeah.
So
she was a college student that just disappeared down there, and it was a big thing for a long, long time. That was like the controversy du jour because the guy who was suspected of doing it was the son of a big-time judge down there. And there he is backing now from the afterlife, and he got his kid off. He manipulated the system down there. It took a long time. The kid was looking for money. He confessed on TV, and they really, especially the ABC, really just rang every last tear out of it. And then they kind of forget it. And 2 years later, the guy's down in Chile. He does the same thing, and he's in jail forever in Chile. I forget his name, Juan Bacon or something. But a real creep, just a real psychotic. So her ghost.
Add something here?
Yes, please. Do you have any clues?
Well, Paul Dale Roberts and I contributed to the same book, but produced by Tim Beckley, Weird Winged Wonders. We both have a chapter in there. I just noticed it.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Absolutely.
That was a great book, wasn't it?
Yes. Very good book.
Bestseller.
What was your? I don't remember. What was your chapter about in that book?
I absolutely forgot.
Yeah,
I noticed you've made a lot of contributions to his books, so I can understand why you might not remember that specific article.
Yeah. So in the
and it's so funny because I will have people who will read my articles, my wife's articles, and they'll hit me up on it. They'll go, well, Paul, you said this and you said that. I can't even remember anymore.
Wow.
It's like I've been on so many investigations. Everything's like a big gray area. It's
Wow.
like yeah.
Well, listen, we have a few minutes left, and we got to have you back on as soon as we can, okay? Because you know how to tell a story, and believe when you're on a radio show, that's what you really want. But let's just go back to when you were the Disco King. Did you have any musical disco artist that you preferred to dance to? Was some music better than the others, or was it all the same to you?
I mean, like Donna Summers and Chic. Well, here's the funny thing. I got another funny story for you.
Go ahead.
Okay, when I was a Disco King, I got to sit in the VIP section of the Galactica 2000, which was the hottest club in Sacramento.
Yeah.
So I would bring my entourage. We would sit in the VIP section. You know, we thought we were all that, right?
Yes.
One day, the band called Chic.
Chic, sure.
They start playing the music, and Chic started coming in, and the owner comes up to me and goes, Paul, he goes, they're bigger than you. You're going to have to move. So I had to leave the VIP section so she could sit there.
That fall of the Disco
Outrageous.
King. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, went under pretty fast.
That was it. Okay. That was the sign from above. Well, okay. Okay. So, but do you ever bring out the old disco records now just to kind of wallow in the nostalgia of it?
No.
Okay.
I really don't like disco music. You know, I mean,
why?
Yeah. I mean, it's something that's passé.
Okay. All right. Wow. 8 hours. So you danced continuously for 8 days?
Eight and a half days. Yeah, 8.5 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you get
no wonder why you don't like it.
Yeah. You've had your fill.
Yeah.
Were you in a John Travolta kind of shining?
There was another part of my life that you guys don't know about yet. During the time, actually from the 80s to the 90s, I was considered a letter hack. And a letter hack is a person who writes comic book letters to all these different comic books. And I had over 1,000 letters published.
A letterer.
Yeah, letter hack, yeah. So if you look, you can Google letter hack Wikipedia. You'll see my name in there. Letter hack.
Yeah.
LETTERHACK. Letter hack.
Okay.
And guess who was a letter hack?
Wow.
The author of Game of Thrones.
Oh, was it really? Yeah, that's how he started. Yeah, that guy. Yeah. George Martin.
So there was a lot of famous letter hacks.
Right.
Yeah.
Why does he still look homeless, George Martin? The guy's like a billionaire. Ever see him?
Yeah.
Not the Beatles producer. So anyway, wow. Hey, listen, you're a fascinating guy, okay? And I can tell that you can, rolled with it from the second I saw your video. What's on the ceiling there? Is that some kind of special effect you have going there?
Oh, that's my wife. She put that up. In fact, if I was actually doing it in her studio, because she does tarot card readings in her studio, and in the background, she has this beautiful back wall thing that looks like you're on a spaceship.
Wow, huh? Okay. Well, can you two come on as a couple next time?
Okay, she doesn't really like doing radio shows, but she'll do her tarot card reading, but
I'd like to do that.
She's not really into the
I'll volunteer for that.
Thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Will she do it on the radio, you mean, or we have to do it off air?
Oh, I don't know. I have to ask her.
Okay, all right. We're just trying to, we'd like to.
She's been offered to do other radio shows, and she just, nah. But she has done a lot of documentaries.
Okay.
So she's been on Ghost Adventures.
Wow.
She's been a location scout for Ghost Adventures and all kinds of stuff. So she has her own IMDb, too.
So you're just on the short list of these kind of, TV shows to call, right?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Cool. All right. But
Paul, what's her name again?
Yeah.
Paul Dale Roberts.
No, what's your wife's name?
Her name.
Oh, Deanna Jackson Stinson.
Ooh. Okay.
Deanna Jackson Stinson.
Excellent.
Yeah, you can Google her. She has all kinds of stuff up there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So do you like any of the new dance music, dance tracks, or any of that stuff?
Well, because of her, she's actually taught me, to get with the program and listen to more modern music.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And what's that?
Otherwise, I would be still stuck in the 70s.
Okay. All right. And one last question. When you danced for those 8 days, did you have like a John Travolta kind of sparkly outfit on?
I had the white angel flights, the whole works.
Oh, wow. Okay. Were you able to change to costumes, or did you have to leave that on for 8 days?
Oh, 8.5 days? Yeah. On the 5-minute break, I could change clothes.
Mm-hmm.
During the 5 minutes, if I had to use the restroom,
yes,
I had witnesses watching me as I,
go ahead. Yes, did your business.
Yeah. So, and I ate on the dance floor. So, and they had this real huge, muscular German woman, and there was like one time where I was ready to collapse, and she held me up, and I had to keep my feet moving.
Wow. Okay.
And if I was doing a number one, I had to keep my feet moving.
Wait. So the German woman is in the men's room with you?
No.
Okay,
The German. Okay,
that's how it came out, Paul. Okay. Start at ground zero. Start again.
Okay. On the dance floor, when I'm ready to collapse, they had this German woman who had muscles.
Yes.
Hold me up. Okay, and I had to keep my feet moving.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
But if I had to use the bathroom.
Yes.
Okay, number one.
Yes.
Okay, people followed me. They watched me as I was doing number one, and I had to keep my
feet move. Oh, I see. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
To the music in your head, or were they pumping music in the men's room, at least for you?
They're pumping music.
Really? Yeah, okay. No wonder you hate disco. All right. Wow. Wow. Well, hey, listen, thanks for joining us, Paul.
And one last thing.
Go ahead.
The Bond movie was Moonraker.
Yeah.
Oh, Moonraker.
Okay.
Yeah. Moonraker, yeah.
Ella, are you still there? Ella, do you have anything?
Yes,
do you have anything?
I'm still here.
Anything to add to this?
Well, I knew that it was Moonraker, but I should have said something.
That's okay.
But no, I don't really have any questions.
Oh, okay.
That's very interesting about the bathroom use, though.
Yeah, that's crazy.
People watching you.
Are you sure this was all on the up and up? Really?
Good thing you didn't have shy kidneys, or you would have been screwed.
Yeah, 5 minutes.
Hey, Paul, is your wife Deanna a model as well?
Oh, you must be looking at some pictures.
I was.
Oh, wait a minute now. Time out. Wow. Come on. She's next door.
Holy moly.
She doesn't do radio.
Yeah,
Really?
she's actually modeled in some magazines. She's been in several science fiction type magazines.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Wow. Can you go get her? How far away is she? Is she next door? Physically next door?
Yeah, she's next door.
Okay, next time.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Okay, it's been a lot of fun.
Thank you.
And we'll get you on. And please work on her. She's a model. She can do radio. It's okay. Radio's the new TV.
Doesn't have to do radio. You can just have it without camera or with camera.
Yeah, that's all.
Tarot card reading on the radio would be amazing.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. For one.
Wow.
Well, thanks very much. We really appreciate it, Paul. Okay, we'll talk to you soon. Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay,
thank you.
Bye, Paul. Thank you very much.
Okay, so
our best to Deanna.
There you go.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Betcha.
I'll let her know.
Juan will he'll have a shrine, dedicated there in about 2 days in his house. So,
all right.
I want you guys autographs, both of you.
That's where it begins.
It's been fun. It's been fun.
So you're listening to Mack Maloney's Military X-Files show here on the Distant Thunder Radio Network. Why don't we take a commercial break now, and we'll be right back after this.
I was in the hospital with my son for 18 months.
When he got injured, I wasn't prepared, but I knew I had to be strong.
When I was told about John's injury, I was in complete shock. I just remember rushing into his room and giving him a big hug and letting him know I was there.
These veterans and families are just a few of the heroes we serve at Homes for Our Troops. For thousands of severely injured veterans, everyday life is filled with barriers.
It was really the little things throughout the house. Counters that you can't roll up to. I had to drag my wheelchair down steps.
I want to help, but he is so determined.
At Homes for Our Troops, we build specially adapted custom homes with features like wheelchair access, roll-in showers, and automatic door openers that allow them to function independently and focus on their recovery and family.
This house is freedom. It's hope. It's a new beginning.
This house has given me my family back.
To learn more, visit hfotusa.org.
back, everyone, to Mack Maloney's Miltrax House Show here on the Distant Thunder Radio Network. This is Macaroni. Wow, what a show we have for you tonight. But first, real quick, let's go around the table of all the people joining us tonight, girls. The very famous Juan is still here.
Hello, Mac. Hello, girls and guys, and all ships at sea. Welcome.
Wow. What, you have a Coca-Cola in between segments there? Also, lively up there in the great state of Maine, looking out at the rest of us through the slits in his bunker. The one and only Commander Cobra.
Good evening, gentlemen. As always, welcome and joyful to be on the wing.
On the wing.
Do you want us to start the segment over? Are you okay?
No,
okay.
I'm fine. You couldn't believe what this last meeting was that I was on when I was away from your show.
Okay.
It was a review of all the Tic Tac videos.
Really? They called you.
And they were asking my opinion and what was being seen.
Really? Yeah? That's what you had to get off of this show to do that show? Is that
That's
what you're
correct.
Saying? Wow, okay. Well, things have changed. What happened to us?
One of them is called Payment, and the other one is
Payment.
See, there you go.
On the clock.
In the 7 years of the show, we've never heard that word ever, except down at the Starbuck Galley when it sounded more like
Mac,
pay up.
that knife. Mac the knife.
Check, please.
That knife looks pretty good in your back right now.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's getting crowded
Mac
back
the
there.
knife.
A two, Coco? Anyway.
I think that is very unfair, especially coming from 1-1.
Oh, really?
Hey.
Really? His hand is in it, too? Let's move on. Up there in the Battle Creek of the Republic, Battle Creek, Michigan, the home, the Bowl of Flakes, national correspondent, Switchblade Steve Ward.
It is great to be here, gentlemen.
There you go.
And lady.
Okay, all right. Thank you. We'll get back to you in a second, and please remind me if we don't do it, okay? Also, security chief, Willy Clubb is here, watching over us tonight. How you doing there, Willie?
Doing great. Hi, folks.
Okay.
Oh.
Hey, Willie.
Okay. If this is a video, you'd know what Whitey Bulger looks like, even though he's been dead for several years. That's an inside Boston joke, which is good. But first, let us introduce the class part of our show. Ella the Psychic out there in Vegas. Ella, how are you doing?
I'm doing quite nicely. Thank you very much.
Quite nicely. Okay. Has there been any part on the show that you just want to say the heck with us and hang up on us? Have you had that temptation?
No, of course not.
Good.
Sure?
No.
Are you sure?
No inappropriate content?
Nothing?
Good.
No, nothing inappropriate.
Good.
Okay. All right. I always have that in the back of my mind. Also, our guest, our special guest tonight is Ron Kolek, who is from our neighborhood, kind of. And he is the host of the Ghost Chronicles. Is that it, Ron?
Yep, Ghost Chronicles Radio.
Okay, gross. And how long have you been doing it?
20 years.
Really? Yeah, you got a good voice for radio.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do. What do
I have a good face. I have a good face for radio.
Oh, you must be.
Oh, you never heard that before.
Oh, we hear it all the time.
You're looking at the screen, buddy. So join the rest of the club.
Yes, right. Believe me, they invented that term for us. So you I don't want to ask you how old of a man you are, but you were around the same kind of age range. When did you first get interested in ghosts? Did you have an apparition when you were a kid or something?
My Facebook says I'm 108.
108? Really? Yeah. Okay.
That's what my Facebook says. You know.
Okay. All right. What's the secret? What's the secret? Stay out of South Boston.
Oh, look at that name there, Van Helsing. You have to say more.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Did he live forever?
I love that character.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. All right.
Actually, Van Helsing, why I picked that as persona because I have a degree in environmental science.
Mm-hmm.
I worked on the space program when I was going to college, and so we're pretty well grounded.
Right.
But I also very much interested in the paranormal, and most people think, oh, Van Helsing, he was that guy in Dracula, but he was a man of science, but versed in the arts and the crafts. So it's kind of like that. I've got that good science background, but yet I investigate all this weird crap.
Well, we had a real life vampire on the show last week. Kata Kidrick.
Really?
Yep, she is a transitioning from a male to a female, and she's also a vampire, and she's walked us through the steps that she's able to, have her, quotient of blood every week. It's not pretty.
My a good friend of mine was one of the elders in the vampire community in New York City.
Oh, wow, okay. Yeah.
He also does bizarre magic, too, which is kind of cool.
Okay. It's kind of strange, but there are vampires out there or people who drink blood anyway. So
they're different. Well, not only just that, but there are emotional vampires.
Like,
if anybody's got a mother-in-law, I'm sure you can.
Do you know my old girlfriend? How'd you know her?
Oh, that too. That works.
There's benevolent vampires. If that's the word, benevolent.
Sure.
I mean, they're
Are they
not
really?
like
Yeah.
evil.
They just want to suck your blood and no hard feelings.
Well, Carol's got donors.
Yeah, she has donors. She has regular donors.
Yeah.
And
Just an ounce here, an ounce there.
Yeah, we asked her one night, what do you get in return? She says, I buy them a pizza. I mean, come on.
A pizza, that's all.
At least dinner and drinks. Yes.
Damn.
Well, it's good for the blood.
It's good for the blood. That's true.
Yeah. It's good to restore the blood.
She must be doing the back alleys.
Oh, so look. So now you were, when we were corresponding off the air the first couple, about 2 weeks ago, you brought up the Gulf Breeze 9 and we had Gulf Breeze 6. I'm sorry. And we were talking about Gulf Breeze in 3 or 4 weeks ago about the biggest UFO frauds, okay? And oh yeah. And so because the guy who took the pictures, I forget his name right now, but he was found out to be a fraud. The props,
Walters?
Yeah, right. The props were found in his attic, and it's a whole long story.
Well, how do you know he didn't make the models from what he actually saw? Did you ever think it that way?
Well, why would he?
That
do
was
that?
his explanation.
Yeah. Well, I mean, why would he do that? And why would he hide it? And why would he deny that he had them?
He forgot about them.
Okay, there you go. So anyway, but
happen.
But in 1990, you have this other strange story, and to me, it's like more compelling, to tell you the truth.
Did you know about it before I mentioned about it?
I remember hearing about it, but then the story went away, and other things were happening at the time too, 1990 to 1992. So here's the story. Here's the quick story: is that you had these people over in Germany. They were part of a military intelligence unit. They were soldiers, and suddenly in 1990. They all went AWOL, just the short version, and were arrested in Gulf Breeze, Florida, some days later, because they said that now these are our intelligence, experts. They said that they had
high clearance, the highest clearance.
And they had consulted a Ouija board, and the Ouija board told them to leave the Army to get the Gulf Breeze, and that the end times were coming. Things were going to change. You had to be in position when things changed. And they were arrested. They were pulled over because they had a taillight, missing on the truck they were in. Finally, they arrested all of them. There are news stories about them being arrested on possibly counter-espionage charges, but they were AWOL and so on. Just a few days later, they were discharged honorably from the Army. Boom, story's over.
Love it?
Story's over.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what happened? 2 years later, one of the guys came out, gave a little bit more meat to the story. But why don't you take it from there, Ron?
Take it from where? You took all my good stuff.
I'm sorry. Yeah, all of a sudden, I'm thinking, what am I talking about? What's he here for?
Let's start with saying that they may have been on AOL, but they were AWOL.
That could be too. Yeah. Anyways, they were members of the 701st Military Intelligence Brigade, and they wanted to do some experimentation with. Parapsychology and ghosts and ESP. So they started doing the Ouija board.
Mm-hmm.
And then they made contact with this character who called himself Sapphire.
Sapphire. Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay.
Sapphire.
Yes.
But they also made contact, according to them, with Old Testament prophet Zechariah,
okay.
Mark and Timothy from the New Testament as well as the Blessed Virgin Mary herself.
Through the Ouija board.
Yep, through the Ouija board.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
So the Sapphire, who was the big, heavy, he was the one coming through the strongest, he made an entire list of predictions.
Okay.
And he gave through the Ouija board. They came through. I think in fact, if you go on the internet, you can look them up.
Okay.
And I think it's like 100 of them. And some of them started coming through. And one of the ones that really tipped the scale was there was an earthquake in Iran with 200,000 deaths.
Wow.
And that was predicted by Sapphire.
Mm-hmm.
So that convinced them that they were dealing with a genuine transhuman. And they told them they were instruments of God, and they had to go to the rest of your story. So, when they told him they couldn't get out of the Army, Sapphire just said, just leave.
Just leave.
So they did.
Okay.
But, they weren't all AO. Yeah, now you got me saying AOL.
AWOL. Yeah, AWOL. Right. Yeah, some were on leave. Right. A couple were on leave.
Yeah, some were on leave, yeah. So they went to Gulf Breeze, and one of them got picked up. I think his name was what the heck was it? Huxbury or something.
Mm-hmm.
Huckestead.
Oh, okay.
I can never do names. 20 years of radio, I haven't got a name right in 20
You got Sapphire right, so you're getting a good one. You're getting the big ones,
get
right?
Sapphire right.
Okay,
God,
go ahead.
I love it.
So,
anyways, in fact, they were trying to contact the guy. Davis was the leader of this group, by the way, and they were trying to contact the guy you were talking about earlier that was involved in the fraud.
Right.
What the heck, whatever his name is.
What was his name? Switchy, what was his name?
You mean the photograph guy, Ed Walters?
Ed Walters.
Yes, Ed Walters, right.
Probably.
They were trying to get in touch with him, but they never did at the time. Okay, they were all arrested, like you said, brought in and everything else.
Right.
And
but then
that's pretty much the story.
But honorably discharged just days later.
I know, but
that's
the
thing
part.
is, they got several predictions that were right on the mark, like it was pulling them in. And that's like John Keel, author of the Mothman Prophecies, talked to several people. He called them silent contactees because they firmly believed they were in contact with some other entity, alien or whatever. Mm-hmm. And they were getting predictions, and they would get the same thing. They would get a few that were right on the mark, and then the big one, like, the saucers are going to come and land on the hill and take everybody up. Yep. Then they were gone. It was kind of the same pattern where you get strung along for a while, and then you're SOL.
Can I be the skeptic, the skeptic from Dorchester here for a second?
Really? A skeptic?
Right.
You mean you don't believe this fascinating story?
Well, I didn't say that.
I will say your rendition of it is quite compelling.
Okay, so these people, I mean, and we know because, as I was telling you on the phone that, that some of the people here have had connections with military intelligence. We're not kidding. And we know that, to make it in that world, you have to be vetted. You have to be, your security, you have to be cleared through lots of security barriers and so on and so forth. You have to be right of mind in a way. I know the guys that they used to have in the ICBM silos out in the middle of nowhere, their psychological makeup was as important as their medical makeup. Why all of a sudden were these 6 people, went on this kind of crazy adventure in a way?
Yeah. You should ask Ella.
Oh, Ella, you're a psychic. Can you please fill us in?
Yeah, she's a psychic. Yeah.
Well, on this one, I'm not too sure.
Okay, see, there you go. The future is cloudy.
Ella, wait a minute. Does she use the Ouija board?
No, I don't.
No.
Oh, bummer.
Well,
I have a problem with the Ouija board.
Yes. Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Whitey.
They attract demons.
Do they really?
Yeah,
really?
I've heard that too.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they're known for. They don't attract the Blessed Virgin.
Oh.
Really?
Oh.
She had her
and
own...
you know that how there, Whitey?
Wait a minute. Wow.
I know. Well, I know that as well.
I've heard it. I read it somewhere.
I know that what's coming through there, but from a number of things that I've read over the years, generally a Ouija board is attraction to demons only.
Wow.
I agree with you there.
That's because that's what everybody believes. When I used to do this event called Spectral Evidence as part of the Festival of the Dead in Salem. That's a month-long event that they do in October, and at the Hawthorne Hotel. And so every year when I did this for 13 years, the first year I did it, I would ask the audience. It'd be about 100 people there, half of them drunk. But anyways, there was about 100 people there, and I asked them, how many think the Ouija board is evil? And that first time, I bet you 70% of the audience had put their hands up and said, yeah. And then I would go behind the screen and come out with my pink Barbie Ouija board in a little carrying case and say, how can this be evil?
Really?
Anyways,
but
so for 13 years.
I've never heard the evil.
But the time I was done, okay, and I would ask that question, there was about maybe 25, 30% of the audience that thought they were evil. So it has changed a little bit.
So, Ron, do you think that people that don't know what they're doing should be mucking around with a Ouija board?
Don't know what they're doing. You realize it's a toy, right? You realize it's made by Hasbro, right? Parker Brothers.
Well, some of them are, some of them aren't. Parker Brothers wasn't making them all.
No, it was originally Funk. It was the inventor of it. I can't remember.
My grandparents had one.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's what they used to do in the old days. They all especially after the the First World War and the Spanish flu.
Occultism became a huge movement in Europe.
No, it wasn't occultism.
No, it was people that were spiritualists. They were going to seances and
but it wasn't spiritualist. It was your grandmother. It was your thing. You go into the parlor, you take out the Ouija board and try to connect to your aunt for kind of love.
Right.
I mean, that was common. They did things like glass swirl. They did other things, automatic writing. It wasn't.
My mother-in-law did automatic writing.
It wasn't thought of evil back then. It's only when Hollywood got a hold of it that it became really evil. Then you got a bunch. Then you got a bunch of
The Exorcist that did it.
Yeah,
that kind of put the stamp on that movie. Okay,
and Spirit Board, this was another one. But then you got a bunch of girls that would do pajama parties.
Yes.
And they'd all go around and do the Ouija board, and that's rock.
I can't tell you how many times I've heard that story you just told. This is in my years, where somewhere along the line, girls are always like 12 or 13 or whatever. They have a pajama party. They bring out the Ouija board, and like three of them, or two of them are at the, they've had it for life. They're traumatized for life. I know. I've talked to people who said, "Oh, this is like it was awful. It was awful." And it always seems to be right around that age, a whole group of girls sleep over.
So Ron, is it a focusing tool or is it just a toy to you? Give me your definition of what the Ouija board is.
As I told you, I'm pretty much involved in all of this. I'm studying it. That's my thing. I want to learn.
Sure, I understand
how things work. Now, if you think that anybody than the participants are moving that planchette, then I'll sell you a car. But any of that dowsing and all that's done by whoever's doing it. Now, where they get the information is another story. Okay, Ella could probably tell you that. She sometimes will channel. That's where it's coming from. It's coming from somewhere else, whether it's your inner self, consciously or subconsciously, or perhaps spirits, perhaps demons. It's what you believe in. It's your own personal beliefs.
So do you think that that's kind of a thin line to say that those people are moving it around, but yet some of them might be channeling it that's making the muscular reaction to move it around the board? I'm having a hard time tracking on this with you. I'm trying to find if you see it as a tool or is it just a prop?
I guess what are you saying is a prop? I'm trying to define. Is it something for fraud?
To some people, no. You're putting a negative spin on me, and it's not fair.
I would never do that.
No. I'm not having. I'm not. What I'm driving at is, to some people, a crucifix is a holy item relic. They put a lot of spiritual energy into it because it represents certain religious beliefs.
Exactly.
To other people, it's art. To other people, it's a heinous symbol. They don't want to see it on there because they don't believe in that kind of stuff.
Those are vampires. We already talked about them.
Well, not just vampires. I can tell you some other religious groups don't like to see the cross. Okay, in a more broader geopolitical kind of view of it. Yep. So my point, I'm trying to find out what you think that is. How do you view the Ouija board?
I'm open-minded about everything. That's why I go. I mean, that's why I study these things. I want to learn about them, and I'm not going to make a decision until I've absolutely been convinced. And I haven't been convinced by anything too far. I mean, I've been conducting.
Is it a focus? Then is it a focus?
It's a focus tool. Yes,
it's a focus tool to get people to channel and to be able to do the work.
Yes, I'll say that. Yeah, because I mean, if somebody. Whether they think they're communicating with dead people, they're connecting to their inner selves, they use something to focus, whether it's a pendulum or a Ouija board or whatever,
So to me, it makes a lot of sense that when you talk about something like the young girls, sleepover with the Ouija board unsupervised, how that could turn into something really, really negative. Because in the ghost world, as I understand it, and the little bit of research that I've done, female spirits tend to be the most active, the most engaging with this living plane on that. So now you take young girls in that, there are excellent vessels or excellent attraction points for that to happen. And without guidance, you're kind of messing around with it, with stuff that could easily go out of control. That's where I think the negative and evil kind of thing comes from.
I've done a lot of research on that, and I got interested in the Ouija board back in the Art Bell days.
Yeah. Yes.
Probably back as far as 20 years ago. He used to get a lot of callers that had some experiences with that. So after that, I did a lot of reading and writing, and it appears, from what I've read, overall, that's considered a portal pretty much that invites demons in. And, it just is a large group of, there's a large consensus out there that agree with that. And if you remember Art's shows, he did a lot of different shows on the Ouija board. He was scared to death of it. And things didn't bother him much, but that Ouija board, from all of the callers and letters and things he got about experiences with that, he really had a real negative feeling of it. Clearly, the feeling seems to be that it is some kind of a portal and not for good.
Not for good. Go ahead.
Wait, but what's the difference between, you're using a Ouija board or you use a stupid electronic recorder and say, is there anybody out there? Can you give me a sign? Blah, blah. You're talking into that versus using a piece of wood. It's no difference. Anything they do, if you're going to try to communicate the other side, every single thing is just as evil as everything else. You're trying to contact the other, potentially, right? Okay. Potentially. That has the connotation. And it's grown. How do urban legends begin? They start with some silly little thing, and they get carried on, and then somebody says, "Well, I know somebody who did it," or "I have somebody," and then it gets bigger and bigger. Once it gets the connotation, it just increases that same thing.
Right. It's hard to get the real explanation the longer it goes on. But
the bottom line, it is a game. That's what's produced for, and originally it was produced to communicate with grandma and everything else. It wasn't used to communicate with demons. And the other thing is, you have to believe that demons exist in this world. There are a great many people that don't. You took a lot of people in the light community, they don't believe in demons. They might believe in negative energy, but they won't believe in demons.
What it's worth, the one experience I had with the Ouija board was very positive. It was really strange.
Wow. Tell us, Switchy, share.
Well, I was in Point Pleasant, West Virginia at the Lowe Hotel, and the lady that was kind of watching over it was Rosemary Ellen Guiley, who's, of course, a great lady, no longer with us.
Yeah, great lady.
And there were several of us, and we were taking turns with the planchette, and one lady we were there with said, that's spelling out my grandmother's initials. So she took over, and again, we kept switching off. But to make a long story short, for about an hour, it was just as if we were having a two-way conversation with her grandmother. And it was, I had a very negative view of the Ouija board.
Yes.
And I don't know if it was really her grandmother or not, but it was a very positive conversation, in quotes, conversation for about an hour. It was just, it was bizarre.
Where was the person? When they're in the great beyond, did they say where they were?
No, we didn't ask that.
The interesting thing about the whole Ouija board is that, and bringing it back to the Gulf Breeze 6, is so the story happens in 1990 and then it goes away very quickly. And obviously that's what the Army wanted. And then 2 years later, one of the guys was somehow contacted by somebody. He did some kind of a news story. And he more or less got more into it. And he really kind of brought the religious angle into it. And that Gulf Breeze was going to be a place you had to be because the end times might be coming. And someone asked him, did it have to do with UFOs, with Jesus Christ coming a UFO? And he said, that's crazy. So there's a real a religious element to what these people were up to. And you're right. He made there were predictions, associated with it. But, and they also made predictions that the end of the world would happen in 1994 and this and that. And a lot of these big things didn't happen. And another interesting thing, too, was that at the end of this interview, this guy said, we've been contacted, to write a book. We might be doing a movie deal, and we're open to doing a deal with Parker Brothers to, endorse Ouija boards. Okay, so they had the dollar signs in their eyes, too. And it happened 30 years ago, which is kind of strange.
Some of my best friends, Robert Murch and oh God, here goes the names again. But there's about three guys that I know. They're the leading collectives of the Ouija boards, and none of them believe that they're evil at all. And they have a huge collection. Robert Murch worked on Ouija, the movie that was just out. He was a consultant. He's the one that they got a gravestone. Well, with my help too, but a gravestone for a fund when he was the one that patented the Ouija board for him because he didn't even have a grave marker, and he does not believe that it's evil, and a lot of people don't. I mean, it's just got that connotation. And when you think about it, okay, so a lot of you guys there, I was surprised that you really thought it was evil. But all right, so you go into, say you're a 17-year-old girl and you go into a sleepover and you take out the Ouija board. Okay. You've already got that thought in your mind.
Sure.
So anything that happens on it is going to be evil.
What about the Zozo phenomenon?
Oh yeah, I knew you were going to bring that.
What
up.
Is that?
Go ahead.
Please explain it.
You go ahead, Ron. You know
I
better than I do.
I forget who's talking about that.
Switchy.
Whoever. Yes, that's fine. Go ahead.
Well, it's just it's supposed to be this evil spirit that pops up now
Alien,
and then.
By the way.
Yes, and that's the same lady that who contacted her grandmother. She used to always do a kind of prayer and meditation before she would ever use the board. But this, in quote, spirit, alien, whatever it was, showed up. And it's supposed to be just pretty nasty and evil and so forth.
Due to some interaction with the Ouija board, this monster?
Well, this thing comes through on the Ouija board.
Interesting. Wow, huh? See,
have you ever encountered that, Ron?
No. Zozo, no. I did get a good one, though. I was doing an investigation in Duck Island Lighthouse off the coast of Maine.
Yes.
And we were doing this thing called glass swirling, which is another form of divination. You put fingers on a glass and you ask questions and it goes around and everything else. So we were doing that, and we connected with a spirit supposedly, and he said he wanted to go on the Ouija board, right? We didn't have a Ouija board, and all of a sudden our fingers went off to the side, and there was a closet there. We opened the closet, and there was a Ouija board.
Whoa.
So he took the Ouija board out, and the medium I was with was Leslie Martin and Jeremy Dontremont, who's a lighthouse expert, were there, and they started doing the Ouija board, and I wasn't involved in it. And Jeremy's lunch lady from Northeastern, whatever school he went to, came through and everything else, right? So a bunch of other stuff.
Now, wait a minute. Whoa. So this guy goes on a Ouija board. He's in a haunted lighthouse or whatever, and he connects with the lunch lady at his high school? Really?
Yeah.
Really? Oh.
High school or college?
They're not all evil.
What, did he have a thing with her? Did he have a thing for her?
High school or college?
I don't know. College.
Oh,
he went to,
that makes all the difference in the world.
Northeastern School of Broadcasting. I think that's what it is. Wow. I wasn't Northeastern at the time. I forget. Whatever it was.
Coco went to Northeastern. And so did Juan.
Whatever. Go with Northeastern.
Both of
them. But anyways.
Okay.
So the board started asking for me to go on, right?
Yes.
So, I know what this is going to be about. All right. So, yeah. Okay, I'll go on. So they kept asking me. I said, I'll go on. So Leslie and I started doing it. And then it says, Ron, you die tonight.
Oh.
So it's like, yeah, okay.
It's not evil.
So, no, it's not evil.
Okay, go ahead.
So
you're still here. What happened?
I know. So anyways, I said, okay, yeah, sure. Who dies tonight? And then they spelled my name out again. So whatever, that was it. So anyways, we all slept there. We're sleeping upstairs.
Go ahead.
Sleeping upstairs one time that night. And I woke up in the night and I heard a noise down the stairs. Now, normally I would go to investigate.
Yes.
But that little bit of me says, yeah, I don't think I will tonight.
But it turned out to be wrong, though. It turned out to be wrong.
Of course it's wrong. 90% of the time it's wrong. It's what you make of it. It's what power you give whatever it is. It is. Whether it's religion, whether it's science, whether it's occult.
Okay. Let me throw something at you.
Power to whatever, or it's game.
Let me throw something at you. How about gambling, the big G? We ask this all the time. Why is it that psychics? I'm sorry, Ella, we're not including you in this. But psychics can see all these kind of things in the future. But when we say who's going to win the Super Bowl, who's going to win the Kentucky Derby, it doesn't work like that.
I picked a Super Bowl winner.
What? Wait a minute.
Kansas City.
Well, yeah.
Wait a minute. What was your choice?
Kansas City.
What was
Kansas
your choice?
City or San Francisco, I think it was.
There you go. Remember
Flip a coin. 50-50.
Oh, okay. All right.
But I picked them at the beginning of the season to win.
Way at the beginning of the season.
Oh.
I mean, that's kind of a gutsy bet.
I'll give you that. That's a good one.
Okay. All right. She lives in Vegas. That's good. So. Go ahead, Ron.
Wait, one more quick on the lottery numbers. You brought up the question about the lottery numbers.
Yeah, but why? Yeah.
So,
sure.
We do a red light seance. I've been studying the red light seance, which is physical mediumship, for past 6 years. Every month we have a sit in circle and we do this red light seance. And we connected with a spirit one time who gave us the winning lottery numbers.
No way. How much did you win?
Yeah. Well, the problem was.
Oh, see, always.
We didn't know when. We didn't know what lottery. We didn't know. We did play the numbers, but we had no clue. I mean, we should have a little bit more information. We should have asked, but that was it.
It could have been any lottery. Like you said.
Well,
so,
did those numbers ever match? Did those numbers ever match up?
I was going to stand there and look at lottery numbers every night? No, I don't think so.
Okay.
No, I mean, you could put them into a search engine on the computer. I mean, did you?
You know what? That's a bright idea. Who said that?
Thank you.
I
want
to hire him.
He's from Chelsea. He's from Chelsea, by the way. Go ahead.
Yeah, figures it.
Yeah, you know what they say? Liars figure, figures lie.
What? Who says that?
I don't know.
Okay.
Ron, there were other. If you go back to people like George Hunt Williamson, they were supposed to have contacted the Space Brothers, and they claimed it was over, radio telegraphy, Morse code, and so forth. But when you dig a little deeper, it turns out they were doing things like channeling, like automatic writing and Ouija board to contact, and they would get, it would all line up. They would have these different names of different, in quotes, Space Brothers, giving them all this information. So this kind of contact and connected with UFOs and aliens has been going on for quite a while.
Yeah, see, that's the problem is it goes down personal belief. If you show somebody, let's take a picture of an orb, all right? Orbs, I love orbs, yeah. You show different people a picture of an orb, all right? You show a ghost guy at an orb, and it'll say it's either a dust particle or it's a spirit energy, right? If you show it to like a guy from UFOs, they say, oh, that's an alien or a dimensional being. And if you show it to a religious thing, well, they'll say, oh, that's the Blessed Virgin Mary. It's the same picture, but it's all filtered through our own brains and what we believe in. That's the problem with what we do. It's everything we do is filtered through our own beliefs.
Through our own knowledge base.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's not cut and dry. That's like, people say, will you ever find proof of ghosts? I don't think you will. I don't think you'll ever happen. We don't even, in reality, we don't know what a ghost is. We assume that it's a disembodied soul or something.
Just like you assume, people assume UFOs are little green men from Mars, I mean, we don't know until we know. Hey, listen, Ron, what do you have because we're coming to the end of the segment, what do you have to plug for us, brother?
You can check out my books, Ghost Chronicles, More Ghost Chronicles, and Ghost a Day. You can check out my podcast, Ghost Chronicles Next Generation, Ghost Chronicles International, and Ghost Chronicles Morning Edition. You can go to my website, IndieGhostProject.com, the letter N, the letter E.
I will say Ghost Chronicles is excellent, one of my favorites.
Do you really?
Is there any ghosts in Drake?
I think I love you.
Oh, whoa. There we go. Well, we do have a dating
we'll talk
romance there going on.
We'll talk off air.
Oh, and the show's coming to an end. So.
Oh, mama. You guys are all right.
Thank you.
You guys are all right.
Thank you, Ron. Did you ever think you'd be talking on a radio show with someone from Chelsea, they're calling right now, someone from Charlestown, someone from Dorchester, talking to someone from Drake, and someone from North Reading?
And someone that's heard your radio show 10 years ago.
There you go.
Who doesn't live anywhere near here?
No. The voice of reason. Yeah. Anyway, well, thank you. Let me go around the table. Okay, thank you, Clubb. Thank you for joining us tonight and keeping us in line.
Well, this was fun.
As best you can, okay? Also, have your agent call someone in Hollywood because I think Whitey Bulger, it's Whitey Bulger tonight for some reason, right? I mean, he'd at least be a stand-in or something.
Yeah, channeling them, that's why.
Oh, channeling, there you go. Stay away from that Ouija board. Also, thank you, Switcherino, for joining us.
My pleasure.
Are you next on the totem pole? I want to thank also Ron. Thank you for joining us tonight. Ron Cohen.
Pleasure.
Also to our friend Paul Dale Roberts. He was an interesting guy, the military intelligence guy who was charged with actually numbering pictures of UFOs that the U.S. military had taken in orbit. He was an interesting guy. Also, the Disco King of Sacramento. Right, he discoed for 8 days. 8 days.
Everybody has a side gig, and his is.
But he married a model, correct?
Looks like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Coco, for joining us.
As always, my pleasure, Mac.
Thank you very much. And we'll talk.
Fly in formation with all you gentlemen and lady.
We'll talk to you very soon, if you know what I mean. JJ, thank you.
You're welcome.
And I'm saving the best for last. Ella, please. Thank you. Can we please, let's give it up for Ella.
Ella.
Thank you.
It
was fun.
Okay. Is it really? Okay. I always wonder for some reason. Why is that? Okay.
I don't know. I'm enjoying myself.
Okay, that's good. That's all I want to know. Yeah. Also, we are a podcast now. Just go on podbean.com, or if you have Siri, say, no, not Siri, Alexa, play Mack Maloney's Military X-Files on Apple Podcasts, and suddenly we'll be there. Just you'll find us somewhere on 16 different platforms as a podcast. So,
it's amazing.
Did I thank everyone?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, thank you for.
And we want to thank you, Mac, for once again being the leader of the band.
Why? What's the matter? What's going on? I'm suspicious.
That's why we love you.
There you go. Thank you, Coco. So everyone listening out there, thank you very much. Thank you for your fan mail and so on. And until you hear us next time, this is Mac and the entire gang saying, be safe, be happy, and...
Bye-bye.